Hello guys, in our previous video we were creating a Laravel dashboard. So basically this was a simple tutorial to create a Laravel dashboard whereby users can register into a Laravel project and then they can go to a Laravel dashboard. So basically this is what we were this is the interface after installing Laravel, and then the first thing we installed was Laravel Breeze, which has the login and the logout, and these are the look and feel of the login, Laravel login, and also Laravel login and registration. So basically that is how the look and feel should look like. So basically we want to give this UI, we need to remove all the noise here, and then we need now to make this user can log in and log out. So without further ado, consider subscribing to our YouTube channel and hit that like button and be part of this community. So we are going to go back to our project. To start the project, you're going to type Laravel PHP artisan serve. So basically you can break and then PHP artisan serve. Okay, PHP artisan serve. And then another good thing with the Visual Studio Code, you can save all the codes that you are writing, all the command lines that you are going to the scripts that you are going to write on the browser. So it has a very good UI. I love the UI in terms of Visual Studio Code. It's a very good UI. So in terms of files, and we were using a procedure called model views and controllers, and we are just going to go right into it. So the first thing first we did was installing, and then we had the models, we had the migrations, we had the controller. And then so basically you can create a custom controller. Let's say you want a user to log into a custom page, you can also create custom controllers for each and everything. So to do that, you just PHP artisan make, you can make a controller, you can make a guard, you can make anything. So basically those are that's that. Now filing system. The main objective of this tutorial was just to understand the filing system of Laravel. So as I told you, controllers are the ones responsible for making specific controls for visiting, or responsible for each page that you are visiting. And then the models carry data, and then basically they are the gateways, like they are gateways to whatever data is going to in and out of the database. And then now we have the migrations. Migrations are the ones that control creating the tables inside those that database. And now we are going to the view folders. View folder is inside the resources, views, and then each view you can now create a specific view. So let's say a login registration has that login registration, that is register, and then the login view responsible for view. Just to explain that, this is the login view. I need to log out. Okay, so login, whenever you are logged in and then you logged out, and even before that, let me just before I do anything, we have the navigations. So what we had introduced was this partial. These are the two these are the two files that we had created. If you want to add a file into a project, you just include that file name, and then it goes to the file location and then the file name. Okay, so that is it. These are the two files that we had introduced. Control X. As you can, let me just remove these two, and then I'm going to return them back. Control Z, sorry. Those are the two files that we had introduced, and then when you log in, dashboard, inside the dashboard, so you have the login and the logout, and also the profile page and all that. So basically we want to remove these functions for the profile page. You see, we have the profile page and then the logout. Now we want to introduce them to those files into this. We had created the header, inside the header and the sideboard. Okay, so basically we want to create it so that whenever we reload that page, now then the user can log out. We can either move it to this side on top there, that side, and then at the same time either on these functions. I think something that has not happened is we have not moved the JavaScript files. Okay, so those are the files that have not been moved at the moment. So we have just created we have introduced the style sheet, but we have not introduced now on the footer. We need also to introduce the JavaScript files. Okay, we need to introduce the JavaScript files. Okay, so just below the body right here, we are going to introduce the JavaScript files. These are the JavaScript files. So we need basically we are it's telling us we need the asset, the backend. So this, we need to have a folder like this, the backend, this file on the backend here, okay, on the backend, and then it also has to have backend and then the JavaScript file. And then these are the JavaScript files that we are calling them. So when you reload your project, all the files will now will have the functionalities. So we want to bring the setting, the profile, all that into that. So what you're going to do is we are going back to our header. Now we are just going now to replace these functions. Okay, and the way to go about it is also just to look at how the filing system that have been used on other Laravel projects. So we are going to go into the navigation. As you can see, we have the navigation there, and then that is how, like, the way the root request is, and then we're going just to use that to also use that on our app folder, where there is this on the header, where we have now the settings. Here we are going to use root. So like here we are going just to change to we are going to change to root and then specific root. Okay, so we are going to profile. Okay, profile, edit. Okay, so that is going for the profile, and then the login form. I rather use the way the login form has been used as in the navigation. So basically I'm just going to copy that the way the navigate. Okay, now that is the root function logout, and it has a form. So basically I need to use all these functions. Okay, Control C, and then I'm going to move it into the header. So basically I'm moving all that function there. So it is going to be under the list function. Best way is to introduce a list item. Then I'm going just to add it there first, so that we have a logout, and then we can see how we can make those simple changes. Just to see it on the browser is you go back, and then you can still look at, you see we have now the logout, and that logout is functioning as per the request. So we have now the registration, it's working, login, already registered, and then you can now log in. Okay, so that is the user, and we have now moved, we have now the logout and then now we can make also changes. We can remove all these UI elements, and then we can give it our specific UI elements that we want. So maybe let's say we want to have like users. We can add those UI elements here just under dashboard. So we can do that. We go to, now that is on the sidebar, okay, that is on the sidebar. So you need to change that. At this point here on John Doe, we can change into the username of our user, and you can also use what has been used on the header section. On this header section, the way just they called the user. So the way they have called the user on the navigation bar, on the navigation bed. So this is what you're going to auth user. Sorry, Control Z. This one, you take that, and then that is what you're going to add. That is what you're going to add on the header. Basically on the head, it is on the sidebar, okay. But we need to, okay, so basically that is what we're going to add on the sidebar. So okay, you can add that. Now basically when you reload, I'm sorry, you have done two things at the same time. Yeah, you can see the user has changed the name to Zach Orengo. That is the user from the database. So basically that's what has to be done. We can add, so basically what we're going to do on the dashboard, there's a link for the dashboard which is on the side menu, dashboard. So we are going to look at that dashboard, link to dashboard. So we can change this to root, like when somebody clicks that, you can just do that, root dashboard, okay, dashboard, like that, just like that. Now bootstrap element. So basically this is what now we are coming to. This is a UI list element. We can copy paste this and then give it another specific functions just like that, and then we can give it a drop down, and then now instead of being called bootstrap element, we can call them users, okay, users, and then we can give them roles. We can give the first functions. These are we can, on the users we can give roles, and then permissions, okay. But basically this we are recreating this on a whim. As you can see, we are recreating this on a whim. We have users roles, okay. Basically we can give a specific name. We can have users roles, permissions, and then yeah, so basically users roles and permissions, and then this one you can give them as admin, okay, something like that. We can give that something like an admin, okay. That UI elements we can give them as manage users, something like that, okay. Manage users in a nutshell. So with that we can decide how it should look like. Where we have the hrefs now, we are going just to change that into users, okay. So we are going to have like a root for users, root, and then users. So you can see we have the root for users, but we have not yet created that root. So we are going to have a real problem with our application. Basically it's going to look for that root and it's not going to find it. So what we are going to do, we are going to go to our nav on the roots. We are going to create that endpoint where we are going to have where users are going to be called. So basically we can create that, Control C. We need to have a user controller, something like that. and then we are going to have users first, users, and then user controller, user controller, user controller, user controller. Okay, let me just pick that, and then we can just remove that. But remember, we're going to create that user controller, and then this one is going to have index. Index is the entry point where that information is going to be called, and then you can also just have as users. Okay, that is the easiest way you can create. So remember, you have created a controller but you don't have that controller, so you need to have a user controller. Okay, user controller, they're not registered user controller, but user controller, users, I think user controller, because basically I just want to use that naming convention for Laravel. So with that, you have, now you can reload, but it will tell you that we don't have a user controller. So manage users, when you click on manage users, you have users, you have roles and permissions. So in our code, okay, in our code we need to create now we need to create a controller for users, we need to create a controller for roles, and then permissions. And that brings us to Laravel. You can use Laravel Sparty, you can use Laravel Signacle, Lara Trust. Okay, so we have Lara Trust. So Lara Trust can give you the roles and permission packages that you can create for your application. So we can right away use this Lara Trust because it supports up to Laravel 10, and then you just let's just install Lara Trust for our roles and permissions. So you go to installation, and then it's going to give you a package. Composer require Lara Signaco Santiago Lara Trust. Okay, that is the package that you require. You just need to open your terminal, add another terminal, and then you're going to install that. So basically I've written it twice. Composer requires Lara Trust. So basically that is a Lara Trust package for roles and permissions. So it's going to take like a second. Could not find. Okay, let's see. Composer require, let's just do it again. So composer require Signacle Lara Trust just right away. That's the package that we need. Okay, so basically it is now installing. No errors found. That's it. So let's install that, and then we can also just run PHP artisan vendor Lara Trust tag so that it can start that. So basically that is how you install. Now basically you have installed the packages for roles and permissions. Okay, so with that we are going to have a user based with roles and permissions at the end of our training. So with that we have started by installing. Basically we have started by installing we have our Laravel dashboard. So basically we are modifying our Laravel dashboard to suit our basic need of a developer or for a specific company. So that's what we are still doing, and don't give up, because you need to be patient. So basically that is the package that right now we are installing, and it's generating autoloads and files that are required for this kind of particular work. So with that you can give it a second. We need to also create, as it is installing, we can create a user controller. We need to create a user controller for managing all users. Okay, so basically it's going to be, you can do this. you can because I told you with the Visual Studio Code you can save some of your code. So basically I just want PHP artisan make controller. So make controller, PHP artisan make controller. These are some of the codes that I had stored them on my PC for a very long time. So let's say maybe you want to make a user controller. You can make a user controller. With that you can just say make controller user controller. Okay, so it's going to make a user controller. Then you just hit enter. We have now a user controller. You can just open it right away. So basically it's that, and then we can give it an index function index for public function index. I'm sorry, I'm doing two things at the same time, but you are still going to get there. I've not misled. I'm not moving away from what we are doing. So in the previous tab we were installing Laravel, and that is what it is being installed right away. As Laravel has been installed, we need now to configure Laravel. So it has installed the packages that we require. The process to do this is just it is easy on the documentation. What you just need, you need to type PHP artisan Laravel setup. Okay, you just do that, type PHP artisan Laravel setup, and then it's going to set up. So it's going to give proceed by migrating, yes, and then it's going to give the roles and permissions into. So basically with that it's going to give those permissions onto that roles and permissions and file. So basically it has created those, and then it has also added some Laravel functions on that model. That is what it has done. What next need to be done is now you need to migrate, but we're not going to migrate first. I just want now to give the roles and permissions, and the way to do it, you can do it through by adding a seeder. When you create that application, it will, when you are starting the application with the seeder, you will be adding those roles immediately. So we can do that. We can do this. We can add a seeder first. Copy PHP artisan seeder, PHP artisan Laravel seeder, so that we can add those functions before we continue. So basically it has seeded, already exists, so we have a Laravel seeder on that, and then we can publish that tag. So with that, it has already created. So on this folder on Laravel seeder, this is where we're going to add those functions. Okay, Laravel seeder, control click, okay. So this is where you are going to add specific roles and functions to that user that you want. So basically each user, let's say you have the first person into your application will be the admin, so will be super administrator, or you can give him administrator or super admin, see, something like that. Let's just give him super admin, depending on how you're going to configure your application. Okay, so you're going to be super admin. He's going to have all the roles, and these are the roles that will be added into that person. So basically, let's say you are creating a big company's application. It has to have many roles and many permissions, and they have to be distinct from, let's say you have the teachers, you have the pupils, you have the student, something like that. Students, okay, students, either you have a student, you have a teacher, something like that. And then you can still give him those roles like profile, profile is paramount for each. Let's give them a profile, something like that. You want them to have some specific roles. That is basically read, CRUD. Let me explain. CRUD is create, read, update, delete. Those are the functions. So basically those are the functions, and you need to give them to that user. And then we need now to publish this Laravel seeder into the database seeder. Basically it's going to tell whenever it has completed running the migrations, and it has to pass it. It has to pass those functions, basically now to seal those functions. So we're going to seeder then here, so that it runs. Okay, this is what it means, so that it runs, because it is it's a function. So it will call these functions, and then it will apply those functions to the database as it goes. So with that, we can now do the migration. So I will do this. I'm going to delete everything. And also another thing, when a user is being registered, okay, let's go back to our application. Let me say I've logged out into the application first. Reload that page. Let's say we are on the home page. You want to register a user with the specific roles that you have created. So on the register button, you can add a function, a drop down function of the roles that your application has on this Laravel application of yours. So that is what happens when you are creating roles and permissions. And then we'll need now to give these users functions. Okay, they need to have life. Okay, so when you click on users, okay, that user is not on the database, rather than this one. This user is on the database. So it is being told us the auth controller user does not exist, so we can go and make those functions right away. So the way I do it is I normally go with, I create an error, and then you solve that error. The best, like, that is my style. I find an error so that when application runs, it runs error free. So public function index user controller, Control C, we are going to Control P, we are going now to the web functions. It is not going to be there, it's going to be here, user controller, Control S. And then when you reload, you are going to see that you have a blank page. And then now the way to go about it, creating pages, is it's so easy. You go now back to your user controller, and then return view, return view, now the name of the file, and then the view folder. So it will become users dot index. Okay, that is my way of doing it. So return, I think I have a return. Okay, so basically now I don't have an error with that, so I can just create now that file just right there. Okay, so we have now the user index. This is the user index. You can just copy what is on the dashboard, Control A, Control C, and then you add it on the user, and then you can just change the title here to users. Okay, hey, it has been a long video, and I think it is worth it. So we have created a users on this application. So basically we have now users. You can see we have the dashboard, and also now we have the we have users. You can manage users. You can also manage users. I think it has gone to a second page, which is manage users. This one, users. This one, users. Okay, so we have users. We have the dashboard. and then we have on manage users. When you go to users, also we have users. You can see now the application is taking the shape that we want. So with that, with no further ado, it has been 30 minutes and we have just done 2 things, which is awesome. Consider subscribing to our YouTube channel and be part of this community, and God bless you, and let's consume this. You are in Kenya, you are in Uganda, you are in Tanzania, you can be you can build businesses, you can support with the skills that you have, and you can be a responsible citizen of your country. So guys, thanks for being with us, guys. In the next video, we want now to ensure that we have the roles, permissions and widgets, and also we can now bring in all the users. Just to bring now in a nutshell, before we close up, we can just bring the users. So to do this, you have to understand, let me tell you something about tables. Okay, in a room we have tables, and these tables are arranged in rows and columns. Rows and then columns. Okay, I hope it makes sense. With rows, you have rows and columns, and then you can use Bootstrap to just bring in a table. Let me just tell you, it is so easy. You can just use you can go to Bootstrap, you can use Bootstrap, just a simple table, and then I will add in those functions. Okay, so getting started with Bootstrap table. So go to, just type here table, overview. Okay, so you can just pick this table here, class table, all that. Okay, then I'm going to show you how to use this table inside your application, and then you just paste it there, and then you reload your application on login, and then you go to users. You can see now we have a table of users. Okay, basically we have the first name, last name. So what you're going to do, we are going now to use the skill that we had in mind. We were talking about model views and controllers. Models, let's just go to model folders, we have user model. So these are the functions that we have: name, email, password. We don't need to pass password, we can pass just name and email, and then the users. So to bring data into the database, so we are going to create a variable users is equals to the model name, user all. So basically all. This is going to bring all the users from the database, and then we are going to pass it into the views, into a variable compact users. Finished. Imagine you have passed all the users, and then we can now, to test this, you can just go to this user, and then you can type here. Let's just test if it is working. You can just write like that, users. And then save, and then go back and reload. You'll see a name there. You see, it has passed name, all that, blah blah blah, into the data, into your view. So basically that is what we call basically it has passed all those information there. But now to do it correctly, you need now to you need to loop it. Basically what we have done, we have looped all the users into you can see what I mean. Okay, we have looped users into the views. So there is a for each statement that needs to be used here. So to do this correctly, the reason why I had the table there was just to hold, to tell you, to shift how the information is going to look like. So just type for each. Okay, I'm using this because for each statement, so basically you're going to type here users, okay, users as a user, okay. So and then inside here you can now type now we are now looping user as a name, okay. So basically as a name, you see we have two functions there, and then this is going to be there, and then you reload. So basically it's good you do this. Basically it is not broken, it has not, but you can see at the end here we have the name Zakayo Orengo, the other side. So what we are going to do is we are going to use that principle now to apply it on this table, okay, this table that we have. So there's a pattern. As you can see, we have a pattern. There is table head, and then we have table body, and then table rows and table data. So for this, so basically I'm going to go directly to table data, and then I'm going to use this table row. Okay, this is what has been repeated severally. Table row, table row, table row. So I can remove all these remaining table rows and then just have one. Okay, so table data, and then now I'm going now to loop this for each. All this I'm going to cut, and then I'm going to put it inside the table, inside the table body. Okay, and then whatever is inside the table row, I'm going to put it inside the for each statement. Okay, like that. And then inside the table, now that username control X, I'm going now to put it inside the first name mark, and then I can still change this, the one that is number 1. I'm still going to use that, but now I'm going to give it ID. Okay, so basically that ID. So I can now control save, and then I'm going to reload, and then we are going to have now the name of the user, just like that. And then that information, when I add more users, we'll have a list of users. And this is your first application, content management system with Laravel. Guys, consider subscribing to our YouTube channel and be part of our community. And may God bless you abundantly, and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Cheers and peace.